Adrenaline coursing through your veins, your palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, you've even shit yourself, but you're about to check out. Payment is processing, you're already calculating the $20 profit you'll make in a no-tax state, disregarding the $30 shipping, but then, a card decline. You check your Discord and Twitter, everyone is experiencing precisely the same situation. You see several outliers managing to get through, hence you continue to spend the rest of your entire afternoon in a fruitless endeavor to purchase until you see that a new rescheduled drop time has been announced, all of your futile attempts, all your lost time, your chair ruined, all in vain. In return, you've got 4 pending charges for $255 each that won't be refunded for a minimum of 10 business days. Your proxy data is completely drained that you spent hundreds of dollars on. Your Gmails are no longer 0.9. You are a 21st century reseller. Us resellers, we've seen some things, man. There have been some numerous terrible releases that we've experienced. In order to help each other cope, we could face our past together. And together, we will become stronger. In order to decide which online sneaker releases were the worst, I decided to post a form on Twitter for you guys to fill out. By the way, make sure to follow my Twitter, KeithAdam10, and personals for you. This way you guys stay up to date on all urgent sneaker-related information such as shock drops, Sitelists, as well as subscribing for how to cop guides and more. Now, I'll admit, going through the results from this poll was not easy. I was alone in a dark room, traumatic memories encompassed my mind, so please consider leaving a like on the video because it does help with the algorithm and shit, you know. Before we even get started with the list, we got an honorable mention for the one and only Mr. Marcus Jordan. Give it up! You may know him as the Backdoor Booler, formerly the Hotel Hooligan. Ah yes, my friends, the Trophy Room release. This is an honorable mention because technically, these didn't even fucking release online. Trophy Room did a raffle, but we all know where the stock went, of course. Will he face any repercussions for this? Of course not. He is Michael Jordan's son. This was certainly one of the most notorious backdoor cases in sneaker history, if not perhaps the most notorious. So now, let's get into some of the worst online releases. First of all, we have the off-white Serena Williams blazer. Now, what's most interesting about this release is while it was the worst release for some folks, it was actually the best release for a group of others. Why is this, you may ask? Well, these ended up shock dropping on Nike sneakers via a scratcher drop. Now, this would normally have been a very fun and relatively fair release, except there was one problem. The sneakers hunt itself did not load on iPhone devices until several minutes into the drop. So this essentially gave all Android users the edge for 98% of stock, while the remaining 2% was up for grabs for both parties. All those years of enduring those Android memes finally paid off, I guess. Next up, we have the Jordan 1 Union on Union's website released back in 2018. If you were wondering why I was saying deja vu on the Union Jordan 2 release, it's because nearly the same situation occurred in 2018, and that was on the Jordan 1 release. However, at least on the Jordan 2, they ended up redropping. With these, the release essentially just went on for numerous hours throughout the day. If you were a botter, you most likely got tons of pairs, while if you were manual, you either didn't cop at all, or you took a very, very long portion of your day in order to cop after suffering through countless errors. But we do have to give Union credit where credit is due. For the most part, they do have relatively fair releases, such as one of their Jordan 4s, the Dunk releases, etc., and evidently they do put in at least some effort. Number 3, literally any Shopify site that decides to drop with zero form of protection at all. Any of these websites evidently have complete disregard for actual fans and collectors copying. A recent example of this is the Kobe Sweet 16 release. This literally went out of stock instantly, essentially impossible to cop manually, but of course bots did cook all the stock. I am glad that the profits still went to a good cause, so regardless, I'm okay with it. But to any retailer dropping on Shopify, don't pretend like you care about your real fans copying if you're not willing to invest in Shopify Plus. It's fine if you don't, that's okay, just don't try to fool us like we're idiots. Just straight up tell us, we're dropping for the bots and you all could go I'd actually appreciate that honesty and integrity at least. It's just a little bit insulting when these retailers make it out to seem like releasing high demand products is rocket science of some sort. If you don't want to pay for a scalable drop method, that's fine. That's your business. Run it however you prefer. But we're not stupid. You can have your cake and eat it. Also, just for clarity, regarding the Mamba drop specifically, they did not drop 21 stock. That was a big misconception that was going on Twitter. The monitor endpoint embed will always show 1+ for Zephyr monitors at least when the stock endpoint is blocked, and the top number is just a sum of those values, hence you see the number 21. So the reason that you couldn't cop is not because it's super low stock, it's just because there was no bot protection at all. Number 4, we have the Yeezy 350 Cinder reflective release on Yeezy Supply. Now, in general, Yeezy releases have gotten really awful on Yeezy Supply. Manual used to be very possible here, but now it's almost completely ran by bots unless it's a brick release. In fact, there's even a program going on right now, Save Yeezy Supply, because it's becoming way too resource intensive to bot now. So bots are actually now limiting the amount of instances they're giving out, which I think is actually a really good program, but it just goes to show how awful Yeezy Supply has become. Hopefully they eventually move back to Shopify, but we shall see. The Cinder reflective drop stands out in particular because they took multiple hours to actually drop stock, so not only did they waste everyone's time, but everyone also lost tons of money in proxy data if they were botting. So dear Yeezy Supply, please throw in the towel and come back to Shopify. Next up, we have the Bodega here to stay New Balance 990 V3. Initially, everyone was getting payment errors until they resolved the issue deep into the drop. Then, on top of all this, to add insult to injury, they ended up bricking initially due to unexpectedly high stock. Next up, any off-white website release at all, such as the recent Blazer or Jordan 2s we just saw, every single release lasts multiple hours because the site cannot handle traffic at all. Recently, they've been dropping on a different domain, like that's supposed to help. The early links load well in advance and are made easy for someone like me scraping to get the PIDs and send to a group. There's no effort to give the average user a chance at all. They sort of just say, well, actually, they don't say anything when they drop at all. They know that it's going to be a show, so perhaps this is their way of communicating that to us by not communicating, if that makes any sense. Now, manual copying is possible here if you are very persistent, but first of all, you do need to pass the queue. In Gargantua AIO and Endurance, we do post bypass cookies, so you can bypass the queue, just like we do for QIT sites like Snipes, for example, where we give out bypass links. If you're interested in restocks for either Gargantua AIO or Endurance, make sure to follow the Twitters, those of which are linked in the description. But next up, we've got every single Travis Scott release, as those were through their new raffle method. We used to live in the good old days, 2017 to 2019, where we were getting first come first serve drops on Travis Scott's website, and these were actually really fun. Granted, some of the delays on certain drops really did suck, wasted some of our time, but overall, those first come first serve drops were relatively fun. However, the washed folks on Instagram decided it would have been a good idea to propose a new drop method. Specifically, one individual who's now deleted his account, Astro Travi, complained to Travis that it wasn't fair. Well, yes, of course it's not fair, Timmy. Life isn't f***ing fair. Grow up. This is capitalism. Invest more time and more money, you get more results. This is survival of the fittest. The world is cold. You gotta get used to it, man. Travis shoes go for big money, mate. This isn't a f***ing game. Why are you so entitled to this valuable product just because you claim to be a fan? Well, Travis responded to him, unfortunately, and since that very day, we've now been stuck with these lovely raffles. And guess what, Timmy? Now your chances of copying are even lower because guess what? Raffle bots actually exist. Surprise! Now we can't even depend on our reflexes and skill to cop. Now you just need a raffle bot or insane luck. Well, anyway, there are many more terrible releases that grind my gears, and I'm sure you guys too. I wanted to discuss more, but evidently I'm starting to lose my temper. Hence, we'll conclude it for today. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2, or let me know what interesting sneaker-related topics you'd like to see covered in general. It could be controversial, it could be educational. I don't care, whatever you want to see. Anyway, that'll conclude it for today. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, or perhaps if you learned a thing or two. Subscribe and enable post notifications. This way you stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. Also, feel free to check out the links in the description below for reliable and fast residential proxies. Also, you can feel free to follow Endurance and Twitter for updates on restocks or key giveaways, and the same goes for Gargantua if you want to keep up with the progress or restocks. Last but not least, make sure to follow Keith Adam 10 and Personals for you. This way you guys stay updated on all urgent info like I was discussing today. With that though, I will see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.